Altispinax is a genus of large predatory theropod dinosaur from the Early Cretaceous Obernkirchen Sandstein of Niedersachsen, Germany. It is only known from a single tooth. Material has also been referred to it from the Hastings Beds, Purbeck Beds, and Lower Greensand of England, and the Weald Clay of England and Belgium, but this material probably does not belong to Altispinax. Three-back vertebrae with high spines, earlier usually associated with Altispinax and the reason for its name, have later been named as the separate genus Becklespinax. Its type species, Megalosaurus dunkeri, was originally named and described by Wilhelm Barnim Dames on December 16, 1884 during a lecture. A synopsis of the lecture was actually published in 1885, but because this was in the form of an 1884 yearbook, the latter date is usually given. However, some sources indicate 1887 as the year of publication and designate the species as a Megalosaurus dunkeri Dames vide Koken 1887, because in that year, the type specimen, a single tooth, was again described and also illustrated in a publication by Ernst Koken. The specific name honors paleontologist Wilhelm Dunker, who, many years earlier, had discovered the tooth on the Deister, in the main coal seam of Obernkirchen. This holotype had been, under the inventory number UM84, added by him to the collection of the University of Marburg. In 1888, Richard Lydekker redescribed many fragmentary specimens from the Cretaceous of England which previously had been assigned to Megalosaurus bucklandii. Because the latter is a Jurassic species, he referred them to the Cretaceous Megalosaurus dunkeri, which thus generally became to be understood as a British Early Cretaceous theropod. In 1923, Friedrich von Hayne created a separate genus for Megalosaurus dunkeri, ɛæltɨ́spaɪnəks. The generic name is derived from Latin altus meaning high, and ne Latin spinax, as with spines. The name was inspired by specimen BMNHR 1828, a series of 3 dorsal vertebrae with very high spines that von Hayne referred to the species. Although implicitly the new combination name of the type species Megalosaurus dunkeri was Altispinax dunkeri, this combination does not occur in the 1923 publication. The first to actually use it was Oskar Kuhn in 1939. Contrary to normal practice, von Hayne in 1926 again named Altispinax based on the vertebrae, on the condition they could be shown to belong to the Megalosaurus dunkeri material. Such a second naming act is invalid, however. After 1926, Altispinax was usually seen as a British dinosaur with a high sail on its back. However, later in the 20th century it was realized that the German type specimen, the tooth, was undiagnostic, making Altispinax a nomen dubium with no provable connection to the spines. In 1988 Gregory S. Paul created a separate species for the vertebrae series, that he assigned to Acrocanthosaurus as an Acrocanthosaurus ɛæltɨ́spaɪnəks. As already indicated by the question mark, Paul himself considered this designation to be tentative. Therefore, in 1991 George Olszewski named a separate genus Becklespinax for the spine vertebrae. 4 other species would be named within the genus ɛæltɨ́spaɪnəks. In 1923 von Hayne renamed Megalosaurus owini Lydekker 1889, based on the Metatarsus BMNHR 2559, into Altispinax owini. In 1991 Olszewski created a separate genus Velociraptor for this species. In 1932 von Hayne renamed Megalosaurus parkeri Hayne 1923 into Altispinax parkeri. This species in 1964 was given the separate generic name Metriacanthosaurus. In 2000, Oliver Walter Mischer-Ruhart, assuming the 1923 naming by von Hayne was invalid because the combination Altispinax dunkeri had not been mentioned, considered the 1926 naming to be valid and to pertain only to the vertebrae. The name Becklespinax would then be redundant and the name Altispinax could be maintained with the new combination name ɛæltɨ́spaɪnəks for the vertebrae. This name is thus a junior objective synonym of Becklespinax. The same is true for Altispinax Lydekker juniorum, a nomen nudum in 1995 used by S. Pickering for the vertebrae. The only fossil that can be reliably assigned to the Altispinax material, the original tooth, consists of a crown with a length of 6 cm and a base length of 22 mm. It is moderately recurved with serrations on its back edge running all the way to the base. Dames concluded that there were two traits in which the tooth of M. dunkeri differed from that of M. bucklandii, the lack of serrations on the front edge and the flatter cross-section. However, already Lydekker pointed out that the serrations could have been worn off, and the greater flatness could have been caused by a compression of the fossil. References. External links. ɛൽtɨʻspaɪnəks at Thescelosaurus.